Bonjour, and welcome to all of you comic book geeks, readers, and collectors, and also art appreciators. Because this, as you will know by now, because you've obviously seen the thumbnail and clicked on this video, is an appreciation of the work of the wonderful Dave Stevens and having a look at this artist's edition, which I believe was the first one that IDW did. And obviously it's not an unboxing because it's not the same as the Bernie Wrightson one, which was all packaged up. So I want to kind of use it as an appreciation of Dave Stevens, who kind of came and went far, far too quickly. But the impact he made, I mean, he died at the age of 52 in 2008, which is a tragedy in and of itself, whether or not he only... I think what I'm trying to say is the footprint he left. Apart from the covers he did, Rocketeer was what he's known for. 119 pages and 7 covers. It reminds me of Brian Bolland with Judge Dredd, where when you add up the pages he did and the impact he had on that character, which still resonates now, that's the only kind of other example I can find. But let me know in the comments if there's other artists that you think that, you know, because there are artists that have done thousands of pages and justifiably are legends. I believe Dave Stevens is in that legends category. He did presentation boards for Raiders of the Lost Ark, started his comics work in 1975, inking Russ Manning on the Tarzan newspaper strips. So what a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? What a kind of mentor to have, Russ Manning on Tarzan. So, and then he went on to storyboard Michael Jackson's Thriller video. Just a few fun facts. Just a few fun facts for you, Dave Stevens fans, if you didn't know. So IDW, we're going to go through this nice deep dive after the scroll. Just quickly. IDW done this as a tribute to Dave Stevens after he died. He died in 2008. Just letting you all know what he's about. This is a beautiful book. And it's in full colour, glossy pages. Just simply beautiful. It's not like a rough and ready look at his original artwork in this. I'm just kind of giving you. I'm sure they would have done it in a non-slipcased thing, but I went over the top because I love the man's art so much. And originally published, we're going to have a little look at a few of these pages, not everything, because it does slow the video down, and you do want to see the original art. I think anyway, and I know I do, because I'm leafing through I have leafed through the open ones. The Bernie one I didn't, but these ones I have leafed through. Obviously I have, but we're going to have a little look. What a checkered career Rocketeer and Dave Stevens had, starting off in Pacific Comics. Then when they folded, that was in 1981, a backup strip in Star Slayer. He was approached at a convention in 1981 by, is it Steve Shanes, who run Pacific Comics, and said, we need a 6-issue backup, give us something. And he blagged it, basically. He done a drawing of Rocketeer, as the legend goes. He done drawing the Rocketeer. Pacific Comics had a look and said, oh, can't wait to see the story. He didn't have a story. He just had the Rocketeer. The image on the back of... That's the image he had. That's the image he sent to Steve Shanes at Pacific, and he said, I can't wait to see the story behind that. He didn't have one at the time. And a legend is born. I love stories like this. So, from Pacific Comics, it gets picked up by Eclipse. Because we only had, I think it was up to chapter 4. This starts at chapter 5, I believe. Yeah, so we start chapter 5 at Eclipse. What happened to Eclipse? Uh-oh. And this was 1984. So it's taken us 3 years to get to chapter 5. Then he goes over to Comico. What year was this? 1988. So it's taken us 7 years. I don't think this was a continuation though. This is just Cliff's New York adventure. So, but bearing in mind, these 119 pages of Rocketeer and 7 covers was between 1981 and 1994. 13 years. He wasn't the quickest. He was kind of well known as not the quickest artist on the block. But I think even Dave Stevens could have completed 119 pages quicker than that. But the beautiful art he left us with, please join me after the scroll to have a look at the raw black and white pen and ink on pieces of paper, beautiful artwork of Dave Stevens after my little scroll. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into this beautiful book. As always, not so nicely packaged by IDW. I mean, this was, I believe, this was their first. That's the logo that becomes synonymous with the Rocketeer and Dave Stevens' work. The Complete Adventures, I think, is from the book that I showed you earlier on. Obviously, a little bit of advertising and stuff. I like all those extra bits, and as I said in the introduction, it just started. Just part 1. This was just in the back of Star Slayer, 6 pages, and straight away I would have been 14 when this was published, 14 years old, and the Pacific stuff in general was blowing me away, let alone an artist of this calibre turning up. And again, I think that this looked like a panel from Night Raven by Dave. That face, I don't know what it was about that face. It reminded me of David Lloyd's artwork. Perhaps because it's a darker panel. Obviously, we're inside this aircraft hangar. And Dave Stevens could handle. He was just a superb artist in and of itself, let alone comics. And again, we've got all this pasting up of the lettering. We can see, I don't know if it comes out on the camera, but we can see all the blue pencil lines. Not many, to be fair, not many. But penciling and inking himself, and he wasn't known as the fastest artist, but a lot of these artists aren't, where they're detailed. I mean, look at the panels. Apart from your odd panel, where it's pointless really because you've got the words in there anyway, so it would have been pointless doing a lot of background. It would have been too busy. But, you know, just to put in the notes on look at the detail, look, a steaming mug of coffee in the background. It's great stuff. It just boys' own adventure stuff, but in the American style. It did have that feel to it because obviously Dave Stevens is writing it as well. This is what you properly call a creator-owned. That iconic shot, and that's how it would have appeared in the comics, coloured. I don't know. Let's have a look who did the colouring. I don't know if it mentions who did the colouring. I'm assuming it would have been Dave Stevens as well, you know. But I don't know. I can't say that for sure. But just for, you know, for the sake of, that's the size it appeared and that's the size roughly it would have been drawn in. So I love that. Chapter 2. He just had a sublime style. And it was all adventure, you know, finding the backpack. And look who turns up. And Betty was the one really that made this, and this was the page, how this is her first appearance. This is how that's how she turns up. Love it. And she's obviously always concerned for Cliff Secord. And yes, he did like doing the cheesecake on Betty. There was something about Betty, I think, that resonated with comic fans, shall we say. There's only 2 scanned. This is one this is one page that they couldn't find from the originals, because it must take. I think most of these were still with Dave, I believe. And it was Betty we was all waiting for to turn up, wasn't it? The way Steve drew her. She always had the ump with him. So no wonder it resonated with male, predominantly male comic fans across the years. Now she's getting kidnapped. So obviously, it's a character that you can put in peril. It's all classic stuff. You know, totally classic stuff. If you haven't read it, obviously this artist edition isn't the, you know, if you get the back issues, it isn't really the thing to get. Well, although you can follow the story because it's all 119 pages. So, like I say, this is the stuff we come to know and love. I don't know. I'm just checking what chapter. No, I've got chapter 5. In the Eclipse when it flipped over to Eclipse Comics. That was used as the logo on the back of the jetpack. That was used as the back of the. And here we go. Here we go with the money shot. Yep. And it's times like this when you can tell he is a proper artist. To do figure draw, you know, you would have to go to art class or art college and draw the female form. Because there's another artist, Michael Turner, whose work, you know, he passed too soon as well, to be fair. But his work with the female form was highly stylized, a bit like J. Scott Campbell. I love both of their artwork, but it's not this. I think Frank Cho is another artist that does women as women with hips and boobs and, you know, without getting crude. I know I have a laugh and a joke on my other videos, but you know what I'm getting at. Like I say, this is just showing off his wonderful, you know, to get the faces right. You know, there are some comic artists now that, you know, even getting a Luger, you know, the German gun writer. It's, you know, it's not you need to be a proper artist. Love stuff like this, you know, right in the foreground. Very cinematic. You can see why he did storyboards and cartoons, or made his name. That would have been. This is on a slightly nicer paper with Eclipse, so the colouring's a little bit more. Let's see if we can find a colourist. Oh, Joe Chiodo, you know, an artist in his own right, and Dave Stevens did the colouring. I don't know why they shared the colouring. Maybe they, you know, they done certain pages, maybe. But that's how it would have been in the comic. You know, to colour backgrounds like this in that, you know, the sky in that colour, to add a bit of drama to what's going on, rather than just do it all in pale blue, which all us pretend artists do. That's all we would have done. And sometimes to leave it blank, rather than, like I say, make it too busy, because the airplane's blue, so you don't want to see more blue. So yeah, over to Eclipse he went. What's that? It's just a back cover. That's not Dave's. That's Michael Kaluta doing a little bit, just as a bit more cheesecake with Betty, because obviously she was always off having art pictures done. And Cliff didn't like it. He wanted to earn the dough, so she didn't have to do that. Again, this is your classic 1940s. I don't know why it reminds me of. I didn't watch any 1940s adventure serials, but it kind of reminds you of. I don't know where that comes from, but it just does. Another scan page. You can just tell the difference, can't you? just, you know, like I say, the art speaks for itself. Just a beautiful. I mean, I'm assuming like a classically trained artist, as in the figure work he does and the faces he does, getting everything right, as in hands and feet, which is your lookout. You know, looking at fists and stuff. You know, stuff like this. Which is why he took so long to do stuff, because you would cheat if you needed to. Look, where that panel ends, and you would have cheated there as well. You would have just moved him over to the left a bit and not done the hand, maybe to get, you know, if you needed to earn a living from comics and get these pages out, because I do appreciate that people that do have to cheat, and you know, sometimes when they fade the feet out at the bottom and all that, you know, it's because it takes time. Old Butch has become the logo for his kind of imprint, for want of a better. I think it's in here actually. This Comico. Is it in here? Yeah, here we go. Bulldog Studios. I know it was at the front of this book, but this is how we used to do it. Stuff like this is pure comics. Just pure comics. You can't do that in the cinema. You can't do it in a book. And that was the end of that run, of kind of like his intro, which took 3 years. 20 pages. Oh, and now this is his New York adventure. This is nice. I hope this is coming out. This is a lovely. I've never seen this before. It's beautiful, unless that's in the Complete Adventures, because obviously it's got Complete Adventures on the top. And notice he's doing the lettering as well, which I love. I love that. I mean, how long does that take? Just to get the what's it right, the lettering right. And this is from here, these pages. Should we have a look? Yep, there we go. Let's have a look at the colouring again. This is New York Adventure. Henry Mayo with Dave Stevens. So I don't know why he was always. That's a curious little note. Do we prefer it in black and white or colour? I mean, I grew up with black and white comics in England, either reprints of the Marvel stuff, or you know, just black and white comics in general. The centre pages might have been in colour, you know, as a treat. But other than that, again, Betty as a normal woman. I mean, you know, a kind of a level above. Don't get me wrong, you know, but nevertheless, like real women. You know, panels. I think that's obviously taken from a photo. But beautiful. And the more you kind of leaf through this, the more cinematic it becomes. It's funny how he done a presentation for Raiders of the Lost Ark, which would have been stuff like this, as in camera, you know, the classic camera angles and lighting. You know, Spielberg, that's what he was doing. Look, another beautiful. See the aircraft played quite an important role in these stories as well. Detail in that, like I say, just simply beautiful stuff. Nightmare at Large. It's funny how it suddenly gets darker, where the title's called Nightmare at Large with the baddie. This is a lot more ink going on from the kind of hijinks of previous stories, you know, with Betty and that, where the line would be a lot lighter. Every face, look, there's no detail lost. Look at these panels. Like I said earlier, every single panel is full. I love it. You just don't get it, but with the caveat that he obviously didn't need. He was obviously working in cinema and stuff like and elsewhere, and you know, didn't need to earn a living. So I do get it when comic artists do need to earn a living, but don't have the start. You know, you can't do this detailed style. Some can, but they tend to be the older. You can see the white out in his hair where he had to make a few changes. And again, every face detailed in that picture, in the background. Every face. A couple of kids in the back, look, with typical with that flat cap. You know, that was his New York. No, that was after his New York adventure, wasn't it? Death stalks the midway. Oh, what a beautiful page of art. Love all this penciled. Love all that. And this is the new bad guy, who's obviously that was kind of like someone from Hollywood, wasn't it? Because I remember this face being used by actually mentioning Brian Bolland earlier on in a Judge Dredd where they was changing their faces. It was a Judge Dredd story in early 2000 AD where they were changing their faces to early Hollywood stars. So yeah. Again, beautifully detailed pages. Look, nothing isn't considered. Look, figure work in here. Whether it's in the background, we can see, I assume, New York in the background. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Every face, look, little cherubic face. Love it. Absolutely love it. And I don't think I've got the originals of this. Now we're introducing Ruby now. Betty's gone. I think Betty's on her travels, isn't she? Yeah, I don't think I've got these in original form. The Hunt will be on now. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Unless they must be in the back of that Complete Adventures. Because I remember him turning up at the end of the story, but I don't remember reading. Anyway, that's for me to hunt down. Apologies for the little speckle of shadow that's coming through my blinds. I do apologise for that. The sun has suddenly come out, bursting through the blinds. But we are near to the end now, so it's the last few pages. The work seems heavier lines than when it is printed. When it's printed, it seems to even it out a lot, and you add the colour. I don't know why I'm again detailing this. Everything's right. Perspective, backgrounds, figures, faces. You know, just a worry on that face. How you do that with those 3 or 4 lines. We return to the Bulldog Cafe where it kind of all starts. And Betty's back. Yeah, she's back from Paris. Bless her. Another beautiful figure work. Even the dog, look. Even the dogs. I was going to say he's got his tongue hanging out, but he hasn't, has he? Stevens is keeping it classy because I would have drawn it with the dog with his tongue hanging out, slobbering. So, yeah, thank you, Steve. Thank you for your what would you call it? Restraint. Right, the cover gallery. That's the ad from Star Slayer #1 because he didn't appear to start in the back of Star Slayer #2. These are all back covers and stuff. Pacific Presents. think I've got that somewhere. I should have dug that out, but I think I've put it under P instead of R, as in Pacific Presents. Being very, very clever. There's the cover. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before, unless that's an unused cover. Let's have a quick look. I'm sure that's an unused cover. Yeah, unpublished Pacific Presents cover. Yeah, I think. In colour. They cut the page just enough. I suppose the line's here, but he's done the figure work, so why not? Shouldn't really keep touching her there, should I? unless I want the algorithm to ban my video. And that's just his biography. I got that little bit of information from at the beginning. I'll leave it like that for you, while I thank you so much if you are still here with me. I hope you enjoyed that look at one of the comic book greats. But apart from the comics, he did a lot of cover work. But that 119 pages and 7 covers is what the man's legend is built on, and justifiably so, because it is absolutely stunning and beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you if you're still with me this far. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, I'm going to bid you all adios.